What up, peeps? Welcome to a GameCube video. I'm joined here with the Immortal John Hancock.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, we just filmed basically this same video, but N64 style, which will be going on his channel. So
yeah, if it's not on there yet, it'll come soon. So for sure.
So if you're interested, definitely check that out. But today we're going to be going through some GameCube games that we enjoy. These are not necessarily our favorite GameCube games. These are just ones that we like, and we figured that you guys would like to hear about them as well, and hopefully check them out.
Absolutely.
So I guess I'll go first.
Yeah.
My first pick, more common game here, but I know some of you still haven't played it, and that is Super Monkey Ball. And this is a very fun game, very unique. But you play as a monkey that is in a little capsule, and your goal is to basically get from the beginning of the level to the end without falling off. And there's a little bit of it's a puzzle game, puzzle game kind of platform feeling, but you're not really doing a lot of like jumping. But yeah, very, very fun game. But for me, what I enjoy the most is the multiplayer.
Oh yes.
There are the mini games built in. The monkey target, I think, is probably everyone's favorite.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Super fun, but just on the back here it says that there's billiards, bowling, golf, monkey fight, which I played pretty recently with some friends, that one's cool, monkey race, and then monkey target. But yeah, very fun game, made by Sega, and I would definitely recommend checking this out. It's a lot of fun on multiplayer, if nothing else.
And I am obsessed with monkey target, so just a quick thing. Many of you may not know, but there's little tiny buoys far off into the distance in Monkey Target, and you can land on them. And I got so good at it, I could land on them without any special abilities. So I have a funny little YouTube short on my channel that shows me landing on a buoy with like 4-mile-an-hour wind. And it's like, and I freak out anyways. I love that. I love that. I love that game. All right. First up for me, and this is one that I got to appreciate as I continued to collect for the GameCube, and that's Wario World. And I know there was several Wario lands on Game Boy Color, and even Game Boy Advance, I think. But this one on the GameCube is sometimes overlooked. It's kind of a platformer. There's lots of cool things collecting in it. I do believe it's done by Treasure, if I'm not mistaken. And this is a fun game. It's kind of like 2.5D. It's not full on 3D, but if you are a great fan of Wario or love a platformer, this is a fun one to check out. It's not too long either. You know, for me, with my busy schedule, I can't play a game endless hours, and so this one is somewhat on the shorter sides to beat. I think less than 10 hours for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So I highly recommend this. This is one to go back and revisit.
Yeah, I would second that. That is one of the first GameCube games I bought when I got my GameCube when I was younger, and I remember beating it in like 2 sittings. So it's not super long, but definitely a lot of fun. My next pick is Lost Kingdoms.
Yeah.
And if you are a fan of RPGs on the GameCube, definitely check this one out. There's not a huge abundance of RPGs on the GameCube, so but they did a sequel to this as well, so Lost Kingdoms 1 and 2, I guess I'd recommend both. I played both when I was younger. I've tried to go back and play them now, and I didn't get as into it, but it might just be more because, same with you, my schedule is so busy.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty fun game. There's a lot of exploring to do, and it's unique in the sense that there's RPGs where the battle system is done with cards, and then there's like action RPGs and stuff like that. This is basically a combination of both. So you build a deck of cards that have either attacks on them or monsters or something like that. And then when you get into a battle, which is, the battles are done like an action RPG, where the monsters are there and you just run up to them, it doesn't enter into a different sequence. You basically use the cards that you have on the screen, and if it's a monster card, you'll throw the card and then the monster will come out and battle for you. So it's kind of unique. It's not a card game, but there's cards involved in the process, which it's kind of unique, but very fun, and I loved that one when I was younger. Second one as well. They're both good.
Amazing game. And I was into like Magic the Gathering back in the day, and it has that kind of card aspect to it. Kind of a little bit Slay the Spire, like if you're alluding it to like a current game that it has some aspects of. Really like that. That's a wonderful game. I like the first one better than the second one, but yeah, great pick there. All right, next up for me is, I think, one that I think many would say is one of their favorites, but I have to include it. I played this so much at family functions, Christmas, Thanksgiving. They said, bring the GameCube and bring Super Smash Bros. Melee. This is just, to me, I think if you just want dumb fun, fighting, unlockables, if this is just like a love letter to Nintendo franchises, and the GameCube one I do believe is considered one of the best ones, other than I think probably the Switch version that just came out. But this is one of the best fighting games for me that I still like to go back and play. I like to play as Kirby, you know, or Jigglypuff, or you know, whatever cheap character that you can get wins on. And this has so many nods to the Nintendo franchises. There's so much going on here. 4-player mayhem, and I could just go on and on, but I know many of you have played this. It is one of my favorite GameCube games, and for many multiple reasons.
Yeah, I actually have a funny story about that one, because that's another game that I had as a kid, and to unlock certain characters, you have to do certain things in the game. Some of those can take a very, very long time.
Oh, yes.
And so what I would do to get coins in the game is I would, in the morning before school, I would start a 2-player match with 2 controllers plugged in. I would tape one of the joysticks to the side, and I would put the case on top of the system to cover the light, and I would turn my TV off in my bedroom so my mom wouldn't know that the GameCube was running all day while I was at school.
That's awesome.
So one character would just be, you know, going off the edge. I'd have it on 99 lives, and then when I got home, I'd have a bunch of coins to use in the capsule thing.
That's amazing.
To unlock the trophies, but a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Super awesome game. My next pick is Animal Crossing. This is the reason that I bought a GameCube when I was younger. GameCube was the first console that I bought with my own money, and I had to save up for it, and I played the game at a friend's house. I stayed the weekend at his house. We played this the whole time, and I was like, I'm getting a GameCube. So I started saving up money. Once I had enough money, I bought the game. Then I had to start over with saving to get the system. So I had the game for like a month before I ever had the console, and I would just read through the manual, look at the case. But super, super fun game. This is the first one we got in North America. The original one was called Animal Forest on the 64, but that was only released in Japan. It's basically the same game. There's a couple small differences, but this is basically that N64 game upped for the GameCube. But you guys probably have heard of Animal Crossing now because they've done multiple releases. The newest one on the Switch is amazing, but this is where it all started for me. It's pretty similar to every other Animal Crossing game, but in this one, one of my favorite parts about it is that you can get like an NES console in your house, and you can walk up to it and play the full game that's on it. And I think there's like 5 or 6 different ones in the game, but one of them is Excitebike, which was one of my favorite NES games. So it's really cool that there's like a built-in NES emulator in this game, and there's some of those games available to play. But yeah, it's a super, super fun game.
Other fact about it too is a complete copy has the built-in memory card, Animal Crossing memory card, and so if you find that, it's a bonus. Sometimes it's included, but yes, what a wonderful game, and definitely one that I played back in the day and loved it.
Yeah, it takes up 59 or 58 blocks on a memory card, so that's why it included one. You want to make sure you either have a big memory card or you have multiple memory cards, and only one town per memory card.
Yes.
You can travel between towns if you have someone else's town in slot 2.
All right.
Super awesome.
That is a great game. All right, next up for me, and one that I started playing on my Sega Dreamcast, and that is Phantasy Star Online. And the GameCube one takes it to the next level, 4-player co-op, but this game is something for everybody. Part action, part RPG, part, not MMO, but it was a game that you could use the Nintendo broadband, I do believe, and go and play with other people online. Fantastic split screen. You could play it offline. There was different character classes, and it was all about, you know, leveling up your character. I like to play, I do believe, with a ranger. There's magic users. I think they're called Force in the game. But there's different character classes, and you know, it just takes me back to a simpler time. There has been sequels since this, but this is always going to be kind of a favorite of mine. There is 2 versions of this GameCube game, and so this is the original release, and then later on they took all the online missions and included them with this, it's Phantasy Star Online 1 and 2 Plus. This one is tough to get and fairly expensive. I'm sure you would know about this being a GameCube enthusiast yourself and collector. But if you can track this down, play it on the GameCube. I think the GameCube one is better than the Dreamcast one. And either one doesn't matter. They're great. Great to check out. Great co-op, split screen, multiplayer as well. And that's what makes this a great game to play with friends.
Yeah, neither versions are cheap, but the first one is still under $100. But the second one, I think it's like up to around 200 now,
Yikes.
which is getting crazy.
Yeah.
My next pick also started on the Dreamcast, and it's also very expensive, and that is Skies of Arcadia Legends. So the original was on the Dreamcast. This is, from my understanding, a remake of that one. I haven't played the Dreamcast version. I've only played this one.
For sure, it's updated.
Very, very fun RPG. I played this one probably like 6 or 7 years ago now for the first time, and it's a very long game. I remember that. But super awesome. You are playing as, like, Vise is the guy's name, and he is an air pirate, which it's like there's like floating ships, and some of them look like pirate ships and stuff, and it's your standard RPG, but it's just a lot of fun. And if you're into RPGs, this is definitely one to check out. I'm not a huge RPG fan. I know I have 2 RPGs in this video here. But it's a full 3D game. Like I said, super long. There's a bunch of different characters in the game. There's different moves and all sorts of stuff like that. But the story in this game is really, really awesome. And I'm usually not big on story, but there's a lot of twists and turns that make it pretty interesting. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's a lot of fun.
Sega, please bring this franchise back. There's a lot of fans of it. The GameCube one is better than the Dreamcast version. Please, please bring this back. I hope Sega listens. Next up is one that I appreciated for a different reason than some, and that was Metroid Prime. And this was the first Metroid going 3D on the GameCube. I know there was a DS one, but this one really was showing the true graphic power of the GameCube. It was successful, but the coolest thing about this is the attention to detail and going around and exploring, and the scan option in this game. I was scanning everything. It was so fun. It is really tough to scan 100% of the enemies because there's certain points in the game. If you don't scan them quickly, that's it. That's the only time you can scan a particular enemy. But when you scan enemies, you can get additional information about them. It's really kind of an additional feature. It was progressive scan, so if you have different ways of playing your GameCube on a modern flat panel, it looks fantastic. But this is a must play if you're a fan. You know, it's a single player experience. It definitely captured Metroid and brought it to a 3D environment. I know there's some hardcore people out there that may only like 2D, but give this one a try if you haven't. I think it's wonderful, and one I like to go back to. I go back to this one more than the other ones just because I grew up with it. So I have some nostalgia connection to this one.
Nice. Alright, so my last pick for this video is going to be Pikmin.
Oh yeah.
And I'd recommend every Pikmin game. The only one I haven't played is Hey Pikmin on 3DS. That one's not the same style of gameplay, but Pikmin is amazing. I think that the first one here is the best one.
Yeah.
2 is also really good, but I think 3 is better than 2. 3's on Wii U and Switch. But the first one here is my favorite. This is a very unique game. It's made by Nintendo, so it's super high quality.
Miyamoto, right?
Yeah.
It's Miyamoto, I do believe Miyamoto was behind it.
And what's super cool about this is that it is a real-time strategy game, but it's got that Nintendo color and charm and cuteness factor. And the environments are awesome. It's GameCube, so it's not the best graphics in the world, but you still get a sense of the world, and you can believe that all the characters live in this world, and it's breathing, and it's real. The graphics are amazing, especially in the third one, though.
Yeah.
But I love everything in the game is like very small scale, so there will be flowers and grass and stuff that are, the flower will be 5 times taller than your character. So I love that your character's really small like that. But you essentially play as a captain of a spaceship who crashes on an alien planet, and the pieces of your ship go everywhere, and you have 30 days to collect enough pieces to rebuild your ship enough to leave the planet and get back home. You do that with the help of the Pikmin, which are the little colorful creatures that live on the planet. And there's all sorts of enemies, there's things to collect. You're searching for the pieces of your ship, but there's other things that you can get as well, and it's really, really fun. There's a day cycle to play through, so you have to make sure that you can get back to your ship in time, or get your Pikmin back in time, or else you might lose some of them. But yeah, lots of different enemies, lots of different things to look for, and like I said, beautiful graphics. So this is one of my favorite GameCube games, probably in my top 3 for sure.
Next up, and by far my #1 game to play on the GameCube. The reason why I got a GameCube and waited in line and got the GameCube, one of the few consoles I got at launch, I can't say that for many, and that's Rogue Leader. This is an amazing homage to the Star Wars franchise. There's unlockables, there's hidden secrets, there's weapon upgrades. This takes Rogue Squadron and turns it up to a 10. It was progressive scan. There's so many things about this game that I like. If you're a Rogue Squadron fan and you haven't played this, this is a must. Now, there is a third game in the series that has this as a multiplayer. You can play this game in Rogue Squadron 3, I do believe, and this is the game I recommend though. This is cheap, fairly cheap. There is a player's choice version of it as well, greatest hits, but this has all the awesome levels. It has the Battle of Endor, where you're flying, doing the space battle in it. You have Hoth. You have, in the graphics still to this day, this is like a 20-plus-year-old game, and it still looks amazing. Totally recommend it if you're a fan of the Star Wars franchise, especially like the classic trilogy. Check this out. You're not going to be disappointed. My #1 pick for the GameCube to play. I like to play this all the time. I continuously go back to it. I have unlocked everything in it, and I've gotten gold medals in every level. So,
awesome.
Yes, I love that game.
So those are some of our picks for awesome GameCube games that we enjoy. You guys should check them out if you haven't. And I'm sure by now everyone knows who you are if they're watching our channel, but just in case they don't, just let them know where they can find you.
Yep, you just find me at John Hancock, and like I said, I do 3 videos a week, and appreciate anybody that comes by. New content, different things all the time from Atari Xbox.
Awesome. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one.